The image you present is the image you have to protect. Welcome back to Broken Bobby's transformation page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. All right, guys. So, as you can see by the title and the thumbnail, the image you present is the image you have to protect. And that title actually came from Chad Marks on Blood on the Razor Wire. Shout out to him. Like, he does some really good interview, long form content, mostly on the federal prison side of things, but awesome channel. Go check him out if you haven't already. Uh, with the reason I came up with this title is because I was thinking about the culture. Everybody loves prison tattoos and the way prison ink looks and stuff. And a lot of people like to get tattoos based on what they think looks cool on somebody else. Um, Not everybody, but some people do. And, you can get in a lot of trouble if you're putting tattoos on you that you have not earned. Okay, now what I mean by that, and I'm not giving any game away, this is very well known out there. Uh, Certain tattoos with certain groups in the California system basically have to be earned. You can't put a swastika or a sureño or whatever group you're a part of, right? Your city, you can't just put that on you. Every tattoo that is considered political in the California system needs to be earned. Now, also, making claims to be something that you're not can get you into a lot of trouble as well. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples of that. But the main reason I'm doing this video is because, I like to help people, and my channel is obviously about sobriety. But people will see somebody else with something big blasted on their chest and think, wow, that's cool. I want to get some version of that. But the thing is, if you're not about that lifestyle, if you're working at Winko's and you're not in that lifestyle and you're not that type of person, then I would suggest you stay far away from getting tattoos unless you know what the meanings behind them are. Now, I'm not going to get all into the details of that, but just be cautious with the tattoos you're putting on you and what you're claiming to be, because once again, the image that you present is the image that you have to protect. And if you're putting out an image that is something that maybe somebody doesn't necessarily agree with the way the group does things or something, it could cause you some problems even on the streets. A real one may see something on you and say, hey, where'd you get that at? And you could have a problem. It's kind of like uh, with the 1% clubs, when people, like, I've seen videos where, like, dude was wearing like a Sons of Anarchy cut, and somebody jammed him up about that, because the thing is, that stuff is earned. Now I'm not going to get into the biker world and how they do things, but I just mentioned that because I seen that video on that, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about here. Excuse me. So my first story is going to take us to the early 90s. Glen Helen Rehabilitation Center in Devore. This, at that time, was San Bernardino County's spot that you would go if you were a sentenced inmate and you had a year or less to do.
In other words, if you weren't going to prison and you were sentenced, then you'd be heading out to Glen Helen and you would do your time there. And Glen Helen they had the blocks, which is like cell living, and they also had the pumpkin patch, which was basically it's like a yard. It's in some ways it compares to like a prison yard, but not quite on that level by any means. So it's the early 90s, it's dorm living, and there was a Chicano that had rolled up, and he was introducing himself as being from 7th Street. Now, 7th Street's a pretty well known neighborhood in San Bernardino. I won't go any further into that. Shout out to 7th Street. But, there were some guys there that were from 7th Street, and apparently this guy wasn't. But he was making that claim, and now that can be taken very seriously, and you could run into some big problems if you're claiming to be a part of something and you're not really a part of it. So, I was playing cards. It was me and another Wood and a couple of Southsiders, and somebody came up and was talking to one of the Southsiders that was from 7th Street, and they said, "Hey, did you hear about so and so that just rolled up? He's claiming to be from the neighborhood, but I ain't never heard of this guy." And the guy that was playing cards with us, and I'm going to keep names out of it. You guys know me, like I don't drop names on stuff like this, but he said that Vato ain't from my neighborhood. And he got up from the game abruptly, and they went over to confront the guy that was claiming that he was from there. Well, that didn't end well for the guy that was claiming he was from there, because obviously everybody thought he wasn't from there, and they packed this dude out. Like, it was nasty. But, that's the thing. You can get away with telling lies for so long until you find somebody. It's kind of like a stolen valor thing with the military, right? You know, they can you can be asked a few qualifying questions, if you will, like who put you on, who do you know, type of thing. And if it's the wrong answer, homie, then it's going to be a problem, and for this dude it was. So that is my first story. Then later on in the late 90s, I was in Riverside County Jail, and there was a dude that was claiming to be NLR. I've done a video on NLR, the Nazi lowriders. I don't believe they function on the main line anymore. I could be wrong. I hear there's some of them in the federal system, but I'm really far removed from being in prison and doing time and stuff like that. So, I couldn't really tell you one way or the other. But, he was making that claim, and I don't believe there was anybody there that was NLR, but there were some skinheads there that were, affiliated with a certain group that's well known in the penal system. Up until the time I left, which was 2006. But, they started asking some questions of this guy, and he, tried to play it cool. But, there were some kites that went back and forth trying to confirm who dude was. And apparently he wasn't who he said he was either. He didn't have any ink on him, as far as I know, that said that he was a part of that group. And, they got word back, and they removed this guy violently. It wasn't one of those things where, we're going to beat you up and, get you out of our building. It was one of those things where they were trying to send this guy to the other side in more ways than one, So, but like I said, that's the thing. Would I have known if this guy was or wasn't NLR? No. I was still a much younger individual, and I wasn't never really deep into the politics. When I did my prison term, I got into them lightweight, but I wasn't anybody. I just knew some people, and I had a good reputation because I was in a couple of riots and uh, those sort of things. Your reputation precedes you in prison, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. You know, uh, if you did something wrong somewhere else and you end up on a yard, they're gonna know about it before you even got there. Just like if you do something good in their eyes, they're gonna know about it before you got there. When I landed in reception, uh, when I introduced myself to some people and met some people that were important in that particular building, uh, I was amazed when they told me, "Oh yeah, we heard about your riot in LA County, and that you looked after the homie." Which it wasn't something that was like I pre-planned, premeditated to like be in the right place at the right time. It just happened. And I'm not anybody. Never really was. Like going to jail and being incarcerated, you have to be a different person when you're in there, from my experience. And you have to. Your calling card is violence a lot of times. So I had to be more that way while I was incarcerated. Now, the last story I have for you is we were in reception in Delano. This was late 04, I want to say. And there was a individual, I forget, I don't remember what county he was from. He wasn't an IE guy, though. I knew all the IE guys. You get to know who everybody is, but not necessarily uh, have relationships with everybody. But this guy he was from a different county. Maybe he might have been from LA or Orange County. I'm not sure. But he was all blasted back with the tats. Uh, he had the white pride on his back arms and a big old swazi on his chest. Like, dude really looked the part of being a soldier. And he was asked to put in some work, and he declined. And that didn't end well for him either. you know, I'm not trying to make light of it, but, like I said, the thing is, the image that you present is the image that you have to protect. And if you're putting tattoos that are politically affiliated in the prison system, or you're making claims of being this, that, and the other, and a lot of times with tattoos, you don't have to verbally make the claims. People can look at you and say, okay, I see you have this and you have that. So you've obviously put in some work to get the tattoos that you have. And that goes for all races, as far as I know. Um, so, like I said, it all comes back to that, though. The image that you present is the image you have to protect. Whether you're in county jail, whether you're in prison, whether you're on YouTube, all this stuff recently with Lefty Gunplay's paperwork and, with Wes Watson making claims that he did more time than he did and that he was in places that he wasn't. Same with Lefty Gunplay, claiming to be on 4 yards, level 4 180s in the shoe in Corcoran and Pelican Bay. And that kind of goes for both of those guys, Um, the thing is, prison is a small world. And somebody's either going to recognize you and say, yeah, I did time with that guy. Especially, 10 years, 13 years, as these guys claimed. That's a long time to be in the system. There's people obviously that have done a lot more time than that. but that's a long time to be in the system, and you're going to move around to different facilities, and somebody's going to recognize you and say, man, that dude's full of shit. So, it's best to just be the best version of yourself that you can be, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're just living your best life out here in the streets, whether you're going to jail if you have a warrant or something. Just be you and be the best version of you that you can be. Because if you proclaim to be something more than you are, or you go to the tattoo shop and get a bunch of tattoos that you didn't earn, then there's a price to pay for that. So that's my video for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope your week has gotten off to a good start. Just trying to drop a little bit of knowledge on, what it's like. So, make good choices and you'll be all right, So if you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, drop a comment, and tell me what you think. The image you present is the image you have to protect. So if you're fake, at some point, somebody's going to call you on it, and either you're going to show your true colors, or you're going to have to step outside of your character and be something that you're probably not. So don't put yourself in those positions to where you have to do things like that, because, life is great. We can complain about stuff all day about how terrible our lives are, but believe me when I tell you, there's somebody behind that wall that would trade with you in a heartbeat. Being free, you have so many opportunities to make the life that you want to make. Being behind that wall, all you can do is dream. So shout out to all the guys that are behind the wall. Nothing but love and respect. But, do your thing out here. Build a strong foundation around you of people that are like-minded. When we're in our addictions, that's what we do. If I'm chasing crystal meth, then guess what? I'm going to hang around with other people that are chasing crystal meth. If I'm a truck driver, I keep company with truck drivers. It is what it is. So, like I said, I hope everybody's week is off to a great start. Subscribe, comment, like, share, do all that stuff. Also, you can check me out on TikTok at BrokenBobby72. Go on over there and give me a follow. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, you can become a member of the channel. Hit that join button and take a look at the different levels of membership and make a selection and go from there. I'm going to be working on merch here. This is a shirt that I have. It says, "Don't look at the mountain, just start climbing." And on the back, it has the logo. Let me see if I can show you. So that's the logo. I don't know. I'm going to mess around with that. Like I said, we'll be hopefully getting some merch together towards the end of the month. And I'll let you guys know about that when it is available. So have a great week. Be safe and be smart. And don't look at the mountain. Just start climbing.